welcome to the show. Before I begin today's episode, I would just love to say a massive thank you for listening in, for supporting the show, for taking on the ideas and giving me feedback in the form of comments or reviews or likes or whatever in this space. So if you feel able to drop me a quick like or a quick comment or some sort of review on this platform, I would massively appreciate it, because I do really enjoy reading through what you have to say about what I have to say, and it just really helps the show as well, helps to get the message out there. And I just wanted to say that thank you first off today, because I do massively appreciate you listening in and supporting the show. So today's episode is all about something that a phrase that we've coined, which is the 6 steps to financial well-being. So I'm going to go through those 6 steps with you today. So it'd be great whilst you're listening in to figure out where you are at on those 6 steps. Okay, so I'm going to roll them out. And then you can sort of think, yeah, I'm kind of here. I'm here at the moment, and I'd like to maybe get to there. Or you might think, oh, I'm already there. There's nowhere else to go. But perhaps you're right at the beginning and you've got several steps to go. So anyway, let's just see how this is explored, and you can figure out for yourself where you're at currently on the 6 steps to financial well-being. So the first step is a pretty big one, and I would say that there are many people who are at the first stage, which is financial ignorance. Now, I would imagine if you're listening to this show that you are not at that stage, okay, but you may well know people who perhaps are at that stage, and I'm going to say it, I would love for you to be able to share this show with them, because I think that this subject is so important and so under facilitated in our world, in our societies. And so for people to actually get an understanding of where they're at and what they can do about it, financially speaking, and just from a sense of well-being as well, which we've discussed in a previous show, is always really great to be able to enable somebody else to live in a different way than where they're at currently, and having awareness of that. So the first one is financial ignorance. And what I mean by that is that they're in a state of working hard. You know, they may well be working hard, or they may well be in a position that they're not working or not able to work for some reason, and the money is tight. There never seems to be enough money at the end of the month to either be able to afford the everyday things, or certainly not the extras. You know, the meals out, or a nice holiday, or even just some little luxuries in life, because there just never seems to be enough to be able to pay for those things. And whilst they're working hard, it may be that they just don't have the time or the ability to recognize and sit down and go, right, where am I at? You know, how am I going to change this situation? They may not see a way of being able to change that situation, because they're so stuck in it that it's hard to see the wood for the trees. So that's what I mean by financial ignorance. They just set in a pattern. They're either working or not working, and they're receiving a certain level of income, but it's just not enough, and they just don't know where to go. I also will include in this category people who are rather well off in terms of their earnings. So I've worked with clients in the past where their earnings are very significant, over 6-figure salaries, and they're having the life of Riley, and they're able to afford everything, but they're also doing things to keep up with the Joneses, because they go out and, you know, party or go on holidays and have all the nice things to wear, etc. But actually, they're left with nothing at the end of the month still, and they're not actually building anything up. So I would equally say that is a state of financial ignorance, because if that tap stopped, if their work stopped, they would find themselves in quite a lot of financial difficulty. So the financial ignorance means that they're not aware of the situation that they're creating for themselves, and they're not aware of how to actually get out of it. So that's stage number two. Step number two is having financial awareness. And I would say that this is the most important step. It's fundamental to the ability to create more of a sense of financial well-being. The first step, moving from financial ignorance to financial awareness, is absolutely key and the most important thing to do. And having a level of financial awareness is when you all of a sudden go, right, this is where I'm at. And the financial freedom spreadsheet that I've provided a link for in this video or podcast that you're listening to is just below. Go and grab that financial freedom spreadsheet, because it will give you an exact snapshot of where you're at financially. And that will give you the financial awareness to understand your current situation and see how you can tweak and change things to change your situation and to bring about more of a level of understanding and knowing how you can start to make the little changes. Like, for example, when you fill that spreadsheet in, you may well find outgoings that you hadn't even remembered were going out and you don't need anymore or are pointless. I've helped people save literally thousands every year by just making a few little tweaks to their finances. And that makes all the difference in terms of being able to build wealth for themselves, to actually start to build a pot, a fund that they can start to work with to grow their finances, to grow their money. So financial awareness is the second step. The third step is financial responsibility. So this is where you actually start to take action, not just being aware of what's going on, but actually taking action, putting in place those small steps that I've just been talking about to make the tweaks and changes. So maybe it's a question of changing around the credit that you have. For example, if you've got a high interest rate credit card, you might want to actually look around to see if you can get a lower interest rate credit card and move from one to the other. If you have an outstanding balance, move from one to the other, or ask your existing credit card provider if they can lower the interest rate that's on there, because sometimes people are paying quite extortionate fees, sometimes up into the 20-30% per annum fees to actually have that credit available. And if you can get that reduced even just to 10% or 16% or 8% or wherever you're able to negotiate it to, that could make a huge difference if you have a large balance. Same with mortgage payments, same with switching any money that you have into a higher rate interest account, etc., etc. So it's starting to make those small incremental changes. And it is incremental. It's always the baby steps that shift the needle from where you have been to where you'd like to get to. So it's those little incremental shifts that make all the difference. I often equate that to a bit like the Titanic, right? So when the Titanic was heading towards the iceberg, it was too late for them to shift the needle away from hitting that iceberg. But if you can see that you're in financial difficulty, or that you could be in financial difficulty down the line if you don't start putting these things into place, this gives you the ability to start to shift that needle, okay, and start to make those incremental baby step changes. And that's what we're all about in terms of teaching people how to do that, so that they can change their world, 180 degrees. From where they were heading to where they want to head now. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about financial responsibility. Okay, all sorts of other things in that realm as well, but just to give you a few ideas. Okay, so that was step number 3. Step number 4 is financial stability. And this is where you've got yourself into a place of having regular money coming in from whatever source or sources. And you're feeling like, okay, I have enough money, I can pay all my bills, I can do what I want to do each month with the money that I have coming in, and I have some money left over that I can start to work with, and I can start to actually build something for the future, something that's going to sustain me. Stability and sustainability are absolutely vital, because that's what will give you that financial peace of mind and the ability to actually just relax about money and not have to worry about money, where it's coming from. You've got perhaps, a few months saved up so that if something happened, you wouldn't have to panic straight away. Or if something like, the washing machine goes pop, or the boiler goes pop, or whatever, you've got those funds in place that you can pay for those things, and you're not having to stress or worry if that sort of emergency happened. So this financial stability is where you feel like you're on quite a good level with income and expenditure, and you have started to really become aware of what you have coming in and reducing the amount of what you have going out, so that you're starting to feel like the wheels are turning and you can start to feel like your life is more sustainable in your financial sense. So then we move from the financial stability to financial independence. Now, this step can take a while, and that's why it's great to start on the journey, if this is what you want, of course. Some people are more than happy to remain at the point of financial stability, and that's great. A lot of people, again, are at the point of financial stability. They have work, they earn money, they either have a business or they work for their money, and they have that regular money coming in, and that they're fine. They've got everything covered, bases are covered, got a pension pot going on, probably got their own home, feeling pretty decent. If you want to take to the next level of financial independence, this means that you have to then put in place and build a pot of assets that are going to start to pay you. So you're going to get your money working for you. And that, in our world, looks like, having bought buy-to-let properties that you buy. The rent from that property it covers all the bases, the mortgage payment, any bills that you have, insurance policies, etc., and then you have more than enough left over. You have cash flow left over that is your money, that comes to you like an income, like your earned income, except once you've set it all up, you don't have to earn it anymore. It just comes in regularly. Of course, you have to keep the property going, etc. It could also be an online course that you build, for example, where you can put together the knowledge that you have into a recorded course that you make available, and people buy that from you. You have a marketing system that promotes what you do. You then generate revenue from that course, and that becomes an income. So there are so many ways that you can put assets in place that start to bring money to you. And then once you have built up this pot, built up this set of assets that pay you each month, so that you don't any longer have to work for that money, or very little, relatively little. We call this passive income. There are different degrees of passive income, which we'll cover on another call, another episode, I'm sure. But essentially, it's money coming in without you having to do much for it or anything for it. Okay, I would include in that a high interest rate bank account. So the money that you get from a high interest rate, like the interest payment that you get paid, that's also passive. Or a dividend payment that you get from a stock or share, for example. Those are examples of passive income. When you've built up enough to cover all your expenditure, your usual outgoings, that is when you can say that you are financially independent. There are some people who have different definitions of financial independence, but for the purpose of this exercise and these steps, that is what I mean by financial independence. You do not have to go out to work anymore in order to cover your bases. That is financial independence for me. And the final stage of the 6 stages of financial well-being is financial freedom. And financial freedom to me means the ability to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. And you have a real sense of freedom around your lifestyle. And this is when you really have that sense of well-being, because you're no longer tied to the alarm clock or the boss or the business that's kind of taking all your energy, or any other pull on your time where you have to trade time for money. And it's a very empowering, very liberating space to be. And then at that point, you get to choose, like I just said, you get to choose what you do with your days. And it's a real sense of freedom, like I say, the ability to wake up in the morning and decide what it is that you want to do, how you want to spend your day. My days look very, very different. Every day of the week looks quite different to the other. Yes, I still do activities. Yes, I still run a business. Yes, I run the Freedom Club with my husband. And we choose to do those things because we can, we want to, and we have the capacity to be able to share a lot of great, skill set and knowledge and wisdom that we've built up, and we love nothing more than to share that with other people. So that to us is a real sense of freedom as well. So it's just giving you a little insight into what these stages are all about. And so great for you to tap in and just kind of click in and think, okay, right, well, I'm there at the moment and I'd like to be, maybe the next stage on or a couple of stages on. But really, whatever stage you're at, I would massively encourage you to download that spreadsheet that we've got, that financial freedom spreadsheet, because at least you will get a very clear understanding of what's coming in, what's going out, what your assets are, what your liabilities are. It gives you that really clear picture and a great basis, a great starting point to understand and to increase your level of financial awareness wherever you're at on the 6 steps. And hopefully will make a fantastic difference to your life, knowing that information and be able to take action on it, because that is what we're all about. So enjoy doing that if that's what you choose to do. Hope you've enjoyed learning about the 6 steps to financial well-being, and I wish you all the very best in your journey wherever you're at. And I would encourage you, like I said at the beginning, to share this episode particularly with people who may be starting to get a bit worried about their financial situation or wondering what they can do about it. Just share this episode, share this show, because everything that we put on here is designed to help you to move forward in your financial and lifestyle freedom journey. So until the next episode, I wish you a great, great week, and I'll see you next time.